Three, two, one, liftoff.
Cannabinoid Connect, the nation's most diverse cannabis-related podcast.
Darren, welcome back, man. Glad to have you on.
Glad to be back. Is this a podcast for just ears, or is this for actually seeing each other also?
It's both. Yeah, I got a YouTube channel. If you're listening, please subscribe. But yeah, all the podcasts that I record, they're also recorded on video, which is what you're seeing here.
Oh, if I had known, I would have worn a tuxedo. I just didn't know.
No, you look great, man. This is all about just being relaxed and being organic with it and being authentic. So, yeah, looking forward to having you back on. So let's start with this, Darren. When you first came on, I kind of, you're like the ESOP guy, because you're educating people about what this is and how it can benefit cannabis companies. Yeah. And so we touched on that in the last episode. I'd like you to kind of rehash for maybe others that haven't listened to that or watched that episode. Yeah. But also let's pivot and talk about the evolution of the ESOP and shifting perspectives maybe in cannabis that you're seeing regarding it.
Yeah, well, I think last I spoke, it wasn't that long ago, but I think it is very similar. We're still trying to get it out there, but it seems like things have shifted. A lot of people now have heard about it. They know something about it, but still, it's a lot different today than it was. I mean, I don't know if you've heard more about it, but it literally now there's a groundswell movement, and people are seeing that it is a literal game changer. It is the most important structure in cannabis. I would say it's the most important thing in cannabis right now, and that's because of federal illegality, because of rescheduling not coming in, because there's not that much money out there for cannabis companies, if any, and the valuations of these large public companies are down in the dumps, and there's not much M&A. And where an ESOP comes in, it takes care of all of this stuff. So I do think that's why there's a groundswell. People are finally seeing it from all the marketing that we've been doing.
Can you provide any insights in terms of like your experience executing some of the first ESOPs in the industry?
Well, yeah. So we did, to date, we've structured every single cannabis ESOP that is closed. Okay. So we've done every one that is closed. Now, let me just do what you originally said to me. Let me just give the very basics again to remind the audience what it is.
Yeah, that's right? Good. Yeah.
So an ESOP is a way for you to sell your company, right? Instead of going and getting looking for another buyer, your employees are there as buyers. Now, it doesn't cost them anything because it's basically sponsored by the government, but it's a way to sell your company to your employees. And so the government incentivizes the owner to sell to the employees. And this is done in all different industries, right? But in the cannabis industry, the reason why most people like this, the most important aspect of this ESOP structure, that reason why it's a groundswell movement, is because if you sell 100% of the company to the ESOP, the company pays no federal income tax and no state income tax forever, Kevin. I mean, literally, you pay no income tax.
And that evades 280E, which is also another thorn, right? Or not?
It doesn't evade it. You don't get around it, and you can't skirt it. Absolutely, you do not evade it. It just becomes irrelevant.
Yeah, evades the wrong word. My bad. Yeah. Eliminate it. Yeah.
It becomes irrelevant. Like, you're still the company is still filling out their tax returns, actually. It does fill out their tax returns, and you take no deductions. You follow it. But at the end of the day, with this huge profit, it doesn't matter because it is tax exempt. So I can go through the weeds, which is very boring, but bottom line, it's a tax exempt company and it doesn't matter. It's completely irrelevant. You're not evading it though.
Thank you for clarifying that. And
yeah, that's a big one. There's a story about that actually. So it was MJ Biz, not MJ Biz. What's the big one? The big magazine. I think it's MJ.
I don't even know.
I don't know. One of the larger ones. They wrote an article. I did an interview, and I explained exactly that you're not evading it. But they wrote, the headline was "Learn how to skirt 280E," and I called up the reporter, and she was awesome. She was super nice, and I said to her, "You're not skirting it. You can't do that. You have to change the word. It makes it irrelevant." And she understood but her publisher had just gone out on vacation for like a week and a half.
Oh
So,
no.
yeah, it was like, so it took me a while. I didn't want to put any press on it. I didn't want anybody to see it. But some people did look at press, and then you got a lot of other ESOP people saying, no, that's
Right.
wrong. You're not evading it. And I like this.
Right.
So,
All right. So to clarify, it's not evading everyone listening. All right. That is my
clarify,
bad. My
it's
bad.
irrelevant. It becomes completely
It's
irrelevant.
irrelevant. So
Irrelevant.
so so Darren, tell me then, how has the narrative around ESOPs matured? I mean, it sounds like you probably ran into
Oh,
some initial skepticism. Uh, maybe
all of a sudden,
now. Yeah.
everyone's an expert. All of a sudden, all of these cannabis investment banker types are coming out, and they're experts on the ESOP structure. They're experts on the ESOP solution. And ESOPs are so complex, but I can dilute it down and I really understand it. Our team really understands it. And then you have these people talking about it, and then I have to come in. It's like whack-a-mole. It's like, no, that's wrong. That's wrong. No, you didn't say it right. This is correct. This is correct. I mean, I've gone to conferences where people are talking about this, and they're like, oh, yeah, this is what we do. And, well, have you done any? No. Yeah, you haven't done any because we've done them all, right? So it definitely is a movement now. And, competition's coming in, and there's other competition in the ESOP, in the normal industry ESOP space, and they're coming in now also. So, I'm not alone by myself anymore, but I have a big, huge competitive advantage because I've already done them. I've already made various types of mistakes that we could have made. So we really do know what we're doing.
And you've had closing. You've closed them as well, right?
We've closed 8 this year,
yeah.
and we'll close probably another 6 this year. And in 2026, you're going to see a lot more. And by the way, Kevin, every large MSO is looking at this. And when I say every, I mean every large MSO, because you can't now survive or compete without doing this. You can't compete.
If your competitor is doing this, they are at a massive advantage, I would imagine.
That's right. So imagine you're making one of these larger companies, they're making, let's say, $100 million in net income. $100 million in net income. And they have to pay, let's say, $50 million in income tax every year. And then their next door, their neighbor, their competitor, making $100 million pays nothing in income tax. How are you going to compete with that? You can't. So it forces you to do it.
Right.
And so that's really what's going on. And then the next thing, which, when I tell people this, they kind of like also get it. Let's say I'm an ESOP and I run completely tax-free, income tax-free. If I go and I buy your company, and let's say your company is making the $5 million in net income and you pay $2.5 million in tax. When I acquire your company for whatever I'm paying for, as soon as I acquire your company, I get all of that income comes to my company tax-free. It accretes to my company tax-free now. It becomes an acquisition monster.
So you're saying that if you're an MSO that has applied the ESOP structure and then you sell, that company buying inherits all that money, the profit, and it's tax exempt even in the deal. Yeah.
As soon as I buy you, if I buy you today and then we close today, then today's July 23rd. So that means on July 24th, all of net income now on July 24th onward accretes to me completely tax-free. So I double my cash flow from that acquisition. And so, again, if I'm a large MSO, the way larger companies in any industry, I don't care what industry it is, the way you become larger is inorganically, meaning I acquire companies. I have to buy companies and I have to bring them in. I'm rolling companies into my organization. How are you going to compete against me if I'm rolling all these companies in and I'm going to pay now no income tax? Because now, you know what? I can pay more than you.
Mm-hmm.
I can pay more than you. And as soon as I get you, I'm going to get that much more cash flow. So in order for you to compete with me, you have to become an ESOP too.
It's interesting. It's almost like you're saying you have to do it in the area of being competitive, and then also from an M&A advantage perspective, right? I mean, being acquired. Is there a certain type of criteria or characteristics that make up a cannabis company who's ideal for this type of structure?
Yeah, I think unfortunately, it is for the larger, a little larger firms.
Uh-huh.
So I think you should be profitable, and I think you're talking about a profit level, a floor profit level of about $2.5 million in profit is really the floor because it's an expensive transaction, and you need at least 20 employees to do it. So I feel bad if you have a company that's making $500,000 a year in net income. Yeah, this is really super benefit you, but it's extremely expensive to do. So you're kind of in that world. You have some wood to chop at that level.
All right, so let's get into the weeds a little bit, Darren. I want to ask you, what does the conversation look like from the leadership, say, of like an MSO to the employee base regarding this ESOP structure?
The way it works is the leadership is the one that decides they're going to do this, right? And for whatever the reasons are, they are looking at doing it. So everything is set up beforehand. They're the sponsor, right? They're the sponsor, and they're working on it behind the scenes. And because you don't know if it's going to happen, so you don't want to say anything to the employees until we know it's going to happen. Now, with an ESOP structure, the way we do it, it's like 99% it's going to happen, but we always tell our clients, wait, don't say anything until it's done. So once it's done, that's where you will get normally, and depending on how they're emotionally going to set it up, it's like, okay, everyone, you get everyone together, maybe it's on Zoom, and I have something to tell you, and maybe looking solemn, and we have an interesting thing. We sold the company, and we have new owners. And I just wanted to tell you that the new owners are you. You own the company now. We sold the company to the employees, and now the employees are the new owners of the company.
And then, like, what are some mechanisms that these founders can implement to maximize after-tax proceeds? I mean, there is huge tax benefit, right? We talked about that earlier, but is there anything specifically that they can do?
The owners or the employee? You mean the owners?
The founders, yeah.
The founders, yeah. So when the
Yeah.
founder, there's another benefit, right? Remember what we just said before, the company itself runs tax-free. But the owners themselves, when they sell the company, normally when you sell a company, you have to pay something called capital gains tax.
Right.
Very difficult to get around. You got to pay tax, whether you're a coffee manufacturer, a retailer, or you're selling cannabis. And so let's say you sell your cannabis company for $100 million in the normal world, you got to pay 30 million in capital gains tax, depending on the states, about 30%. When you sell your company to an ESOP, a benefit that the government gives you, again, to convince you to do it, is they allow you to defer your capital gains, right? When I say allow you, there is a catch to it, but they allow you to defer the capital gains. And if you structure correctly, you can defer those capital gains forever and save yourself the $30 million. Wow. So that's that's an awesome deal. Plus, you sell the company today for $100 million. You can defer your capital gains, and you can also get these things called warrants. A warrant allows you to buy back into your company in the future at a pretty low price. So then you can buy back a nice chunk of the company with these warrants. So nobody wants you to really leave the company. So even though I'm selling the company to the employees, it's not like, let's say I'm the CEO, I'm the founder, I'm not leaving. I'm there. I'm going to continue managing my company. I'm going to continue buying other companies. I'm going to continue growing. The difference is that now the employees are running with me. They're working with me, and we're in the same boat. If we can make this thing a lot of money, we're all making a lot of money.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like lots of upside. lots of upside. You obviously know a lot about this topic. And I'm gonna throw a plug out there, right? Did you come out with a book? Talking
That's
about
right.
this stuff? Yeah,
that's right. I came out with a book. Do I have the book here? I came out with a book. I wrote the book. Took me about, I guess, like 6 months to write the book. And it just goes through. I tried to make it as interesting as possible, but bottom line, it's just not that interesting, right? It's like I can bore myself sometimes. You're reading it over and over and over again. So I tried to make it exciting, but it's a structure to sell your company. Now, to me, paying no taxes, is super exciting, and figuring out how to do that via the ESOP structure is great. So, it is a phenomenal book to get you that knowledge. And again, I try to write it in such a way that it was interesting, but it's not like it's not like a John Grisham book, which is a mystery book. This is a book that you're gonna read, and you go to sleep with it, but you're gonna learn.
Yeah. Well, is there any examples you can pull out of it in terms of like MBO ventures that have successfully implemented or structured ESOPs?
Yeah, I go through a lot of different case studies. I go through a lot of different companies and how they actually did it. So one company is in Oregon that we recently did, and had some. They had the leadership had some issues getting into it because one owner wasn't sure if he wanted to do it, the other owner didn't. But the more you talk to them, the more you explain how it works, the understanding finally gets there. Because a lot of times I can give someone a pitch over and I'll tell them again and again and again, and you don't get it. Like, I've spoken to lenders, right, which I also go through in the book. I've spoken to lenders and I've explained to them, you give me a loan for my company, right? Let's say you give me a loan for $20 million. If I structure it as an ESOP, I'm doubling my cash flow to pay down my loan. So it's much better for you as a lender. And so I can tell this to a lender. And, we as humans, we really can't focus that much, right? Because I'm talking to you right now. Well, you're probably you're thinking about your kids, and then you get back into it. And then you're thinking about your cat. All these different things happen, right? Because, how much you can't pay that much attention. So that's what happens when I talk to anybody. It happens to everyone's conversation. Unless it's like you're watching TV, then you're really focused. But when you're talking about ESOPs and a complex topic, you lose people. So, like, I've spoken to these lenders, and I've probably spoken to like the top lenders, the top companies, like 3-4 times, like different people. And like just very recently, like 3 months ago, the guy, he hears me, like it's almost like for the first time. He's like, "Are you saying that I double the cash?" What? John, I've been telling you this for a very, very long time, but he finally got it. And he's like, "Huh, well, we have a portfolio of companies. This would be working great for them." Yes. But, and then here's the thing, which is also crazy, right? Which is ridiculous. Even though he got it, like, even though I've spoken to you, you get it. But then the next day, a week later, you kind of forget it. Like, you knew it was good, but you kind of forget what this thing is. I mean, literally, right?
I here's the thing. I'm locked in now and I'm listening and I understand it. I could explain it now after this conversation. The reason why I think the first time it's because like if you're not in the state or in the like basically opportune time to do it or implement it, like, this is it seems like very exclusive to like MSOs, bigger companies, like you said, that are ready for this type of move. And so if you're not in the game, you're kind of like,
yeah. Oh, it's great for MSOs. Yeah. It's great for single state operators. I mean, this thing is, most of our clients are normal players, not the very large companies.
Okay.
I'm hoping to get all the large companies. I want to get everybody. I want to get the large companies doing it. I want to get as many employees involved in this. And that's really my passion, is really how to help these employees and how to get, not only thousands, but tens of thousands of employees. I think with the cannabis space, this is going to be insanely huge. Tens of thousands of people will be employee owners via this.
I totally agree with you. Yeah, and I mean, it doesn't look like, I mean, there is talks of rescheduling, right? So at the federal level, say, 280Es removed. I mean, does that
Great.
I
hope so. I really, I want 280E to go away. I'm one of those. I don't want to be like a Pollyanna, but I'm very hopeful. Like Trump said back in the day, he's going to reschedule. Now, right. most of the smart money is saying he's not rescheduling. That's it. We're not doing anything until the next election. But I'm like, well, I hope he does. He said, and you know what? We just don't know. I mean, Trump could come in and tomorrow could just say, "I'm signing it." He could do anything. We just don't know.
That's so true, because Trump is a wild card like that. But also, what is really unique about cannabis is it is like the Hail Mary. it's the Hail Mary, if you've noticed, in the political realm, like with the Biden administration. Like it was always that carrot they dangle, like at the end. And I called it. On X, I said prediction, like the last Hail Mary by the Biden administration, as the ship was sinking, was cannabis. And sure enough, he started talking about reform. And so I think that Trump is going to play the same card. He's going to keep it in his back pocket for when things could get really bad or whatever, and try to get, here's a breadcrumb, or not a breadcrumb,
Right.
but you know what I'm saying? Like,
Here's something.
it's something. Yeah.
I guess because right now he just doesn't care. Even if people are talking to him, he's the president of the United States, the most powerful person in the world. He has probably 100 people in his ear. How about this? How about crypto? How about sugar? How about pineapples? He has all these different things coming in. He's dealing with his foreign policy. He's taking apart different things. I mean, he's just doing so many things. And then you have, can we reschedule cannabis? It's like, what? It's just like, it's probably just not thinking about it.
No, and that's the other thing. That's kind of where cannabis always lies. But then you see like industries like the psilocybin medical market taking off because of the legitimacy factor in terms of the medical studies that they're able to go through. I mean, psilocybin, correct if I'm wrong, is not a Schedule 1 substance. So it can.
No, it is Schedule 1, right?
Is it? I don't know. Okay, so I don't know.
Schedule 1 is Schedule 1 is maybe Schedule 2.
That's what I'm saying, because like I don't know if it is, because we'll have to. I don't know. Whoever's listening, they know. But
does anybody know? Hey, Mom!
But my point is that it's just cannabis is kind of like the redheaded stepchild. That's like doesn't get any kind of love, man. And THC is the boogeyman. Like I'm living it in Texas right now. They're trying to ban any.
Oh, what's going on in Texas right now with hemp? I heard they're banning hemp, right?
SB3 was vetoed by Greg Abbott, but then they just called a special session. And apparently, I don't know all the details, so apologies if I get this wrong, but they've introduced SB5, which is basically the same thing. Like it's going after like a really like low percentage of THC in these products, which they exceed. So it's an all-out ban, in different language.
Yeah, I think there's something going on in the federal and the House and the Senate also to try to change the farm bill and try to remove that. Which if they do that I think actually is smart for the entire THC industry, because it's kind of ridiculous that you have this one group and then the other group is almost identical that don't have to worry about anything.
Yeah, I get. Here's the thing that I have like the beef with this is like, first off, I don't like what I'm seeing in the industry in terms of the divide. Like now it's become like THC versus hemp, which is like stupid because it's the same plant and we're all after the same thing. Which I think, and I might be out of turn saying this, but it's like I think it's legalization, access, right?
Yes.
So federally, which we all want. So why are you why are you knocking the efforts in like Texas, which I'm not for? Like, pesticide ridden heavy metal gas station weed. Like, of course not. But if there is legitimate, cannabis operators here and that are producing hemp that has THC in it, THCA, that's good product. So yeah, I'm just I
agree. This is why I agree. It's just not, this is why. And I do agree with that. It should be legal. Well, I think it should be legal, across the land. But now, if you have your THC, Delta 8, THCA, whatever it is, and then I have, let's say, whatever it's called, the normal THC, I have to sell my plant for, let's say, $200. You can sell your plant for much less. And then I have to pay a huge amount of tax on it, state tax. Then I have to pay the 280E tax, where you get to just go ahead and do whatever you want to do. That's the problem. It's not fair.
I get it, and that's not fair. But also, if we had access to like regulated legal THC, like there'd be no, like everyone would go there. That's what they'd buy.
Oh,
so
100%.
So we're buying what we can buy out here, and they're doing it ethically in the right way. At least the operators that I know and speak to. So it's just kind of like, I don't like just pitting against each other. And I get there's money involved. I get there's MSOs are like there's investors and stuff. But I don't know. I'm an optimist. I'm being optimistic in my view. I know that. And I'm just like, look, it's the same plan, and let's get this thing across the line federally. Let's move it across the line. Let's get it done,
Right. And 100%. We all know that. It's the same plan. Well, you and I know it. It's the same plan, right? It's definitely, there's no difference at all. Yeah. It's ridiculous.
And you know what? There is movement, like Mike Tyson speaking out. So I think even like at the celebrity level, the public figure level, people are getting fed up because like everything's kind of bottling up at this point. You're seeing it happen. The people in Texas, even outside of the policy, whether you agree or not, the people are upset about it. And they, Texas's ethos is like freedom and like, don't tell me what I can't do. And the problem with the legislators here, especially Dan Patrick, is he's running on this crusade of like, it's going to kill you and it's going to kill your kids. And it's like this reefer madness that no one's buying. If they were more legit and they were like, look, the message just isn't authentic. It's not, you know what I mean? So people aren't buying it. And that's what's kind of ruined. I mean,
crazy. It is weird. Yeah. With Texas, because they're not making cannabis, regular THC, legal. So they're saying on one hand, THC is illegal, but on the other hand, federally, it's legal. I mean, no, it's so messed up.
It's a mess.
It is so messed up.
I know.
Crazy.
Where do you think it goes? So we kind of talked about Trump. So, I mean, like you kind of alluded to, it's kind of not probably on his priority list, which I agree with. Like, so do you think there'll be any movement? You think it'll be a Hail Mary? You think rescheduling's in the cards?
I do. But again, like I said, I'm an optimist. And it doesn't affect us. I think it'll affect it a little bit in terms of the ESOPs. But the bottom line is, if 280E goes away, it's better for the industry, significantly better, and it's not going to affect the ESOPs at all. And I think it's going to be very, very little because, again, instead of paying, if you're making $10 million a year right now, you're paying $5-6 million in tax. Okay, ESOP gets rid of the $5-6 million. If you now have if you have a rescheduling, you go to $4 million in tax. All right, so you still get rid of the $4 million. So it's still phenomenal.
Right.
I hope it does go away. I think it makes
how else are you getting this message out with ESOPs? I mean, we talked about your book. You're doing webinars. Are you doing podcasts? Are you talking to people, like just hammering the pavement? Like
that's it. It's just this now has been. I guess it's 4 years for me of just hammering and just nonstop. ESOP. I eat and breathe and live ESOPs, which is just kind of funny and ridiculous. But yes, my life is ESOPs. It's so silly. It's just so silly, because I told you the last time, my world before this was I ran a hedge fund. And now I'm in this employee ESOP world. So it is kind of funny. But yes, it's just nonstop. LinkedIn. I try to get into as many magazines as possible. Try to get into any, if I can speak about it at all these different conferences, I want to be speaking at it. I'm speaking at a conference in September, I think September 2nd or 3rd. It's payments and banking conference in DC. So I'm on one of the panels there to talk about it because they're talking about taxes. I'm like, if you're going to talk about taxes, you need to talk about this ESOP structure. So they have to. It just makes sense. So that's really what I try to do.
I love it.
And it's word of mouth because we've now done so many of these things. You get word of mouth from people who've already done it.
Yep. And like you said, people when they finally click, so they're like, hey, actually, I need this. This is something that sounds really great. So, keep reinforcing. Darren, the ESOP expert Gleeman, appreciate you coming on, man. Is there anything that you want to leave the audience with before we wrap up?
I guess before we wrap up, again, if we have people who actually own companies, you have attorneys or lawyers, contact me and I'll walk you through, there's other benefits. I'll walk you through it because you're going to come away from this podcast. Maybe you're going to be in disbelief thinking I don't know, it sounds too good to be true. But there's a lot here and I'd love to talk to you, big or small. This might be for you, may not be for you this year. Maybe it's in 6 months, but let's start a dialogue because as I said earlier, you're going to forget it anyway. So we don't want you to forget it. Let's just start talking. So that's really what it's all about, getting the dialogue going.
Where can people find you?
So go to my website. The plug is, you know what? My name is Darren Gleeman. Go Darren Gleeman plus MBO Ventures. You'll get to me. But go to mboventures.com and there's some contact forms there. Go to LinkedIn, find me, link in with me and contact me there. Wherever you go, if you just type in ESOP and cannabis, you're getting to me. right? You're getting to me. ESOP and cannabis, you're coming to me. If you are in North Dakota, if you're in North Dakota and you talk to your accountant and said, do you know anything about this thing called an ESOP? And let's say the accountant has no idea. They'll say, let me find out. So the accountant makes a call to someone, who makes a call to someone else, who makes a call to someone else. You're going to come to me. Like literally in the entire country, it's going to get to me. So just ask somebody, it'll get to me.
You heard it from the ESOP expert himself, Darren Gleeman. Pleasure to have you on, man. Thanks so much. Appreciate it. We'll do it again real soon, okay?
Thank you, Kevin. I appreciate it.
All right. And thank you all for listening. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Cannabinoid Connect, the nation's most diverse cannabis-related podcast.